Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Michael Carr at Carr & Carr Attorneys, and I'm here with Rhett Banfield, who works here with me, and we're going to take some time out to answer any questions anyone has about problems they've had with their insurance coverage, problems they've had with their insurance company in terms of claims being denied or disputes, and things of that nature. So if you have any questions at all about insurance coverage, insurance claims, problems you might be having with your insurance carrier, questions about whether something might be covered or what kind of coverage you might need, just feel free to send those questions in here to Facebook, and we'll be happy to answer those. And so Rhett, who I'm here with, has actually a great experience in working with an insurance company. So Rhett, if you could maybe just tell them real quick kind of what your experience is.
Yeah, I was a insurance adjuster and supervisor for a large insurance company here in Tulsa, nationwide company. I was employed with them for 21 years. So I addressed many hundreds of claims that involved all types of coverages, from injury, damage to your vehicle, damage to your home, and have all types of knowledge in that area and disputes do arise. And a lot of those disputes come about because of the way the policies are written. Individuals, public usually do not always understand what is written in the policy, and so therefore get aggravated sometimes, whether right or wrong. But those disputes do arise, and a lot of times it is due to just the way the policies are written.
As we wait for the questions to roll in, I think one of the most common misconceptions I hear from people who call in is, we ask, well, what kind of insurance coverage do you have? And they say, well, I have full coverage. Yeah, full coverage. Well, can you talk about what exactly is full coverage, and what do people think it means?
Yeah, I think most people believe full coverage is liability coverage and comprehensive and collision coverage on their vehicle. But full coverage, there are many types of insurance on your vehicle you can get. Obviously, you get the liability, which is really the only coverage that's required under law, under the state of Oklahoma, is liability coverage. Following that, you can get uninsured motorist coverage. That's an optional coverage, and that protects you in the event a person hits you that either doesn't have enough insurance or is under or has no insurance at all. That affords you protection for injuries, any type, lost wages, medical bills, pain and suffering. You also have medical coverage on your policy. That's a smaller limit coverage that you buy to pay for your medical bills as a result of being injured and anyone in your car. Again, that's an optional coverage. And you have your comprehensive and collision. That covers damage to your car, whether in an accident or wind, hail, hitting an animal. That all comes under the comprehensive. Then you can get rental car coverage, and you can get a death and disability policy. So there's a huge gamut of insurance. So to think you have full coverage, you just need to always look at your declaration page to see what coverage you truly have.
And I think from taking calls, what I've seen sometimes is people don't understand when their uninsured motorist coverage can work. Sometimes people think, well, my uninsured motorist coverage only works if I'm driving my car and was hit by someone who did not have any insurance. But that's really not exactly the scope of what uninsured motorist coverage is, right?
No, it's not. Uninsured motorist coverage actually follows you as a person, regardless of if you're in your vehicle, if you're in another person's vehicle and you're injured, if you're a pedestrian walking across a crosswalk and get hit by a vehicle, your uninsured motorist follows you at that time. So it does afford, it's a very good coverage to have in Oklahoma. We do have a lot of uninsured and underinsured drivers, and it's something we highly recommend people talk with their agents about obtaining that coverage if you don't already have it.
Now, if someone, say someone doesn't have any, say someone doesn't have any uninsured motorist coverage themselves, they didn't go out and buy the policy themselves, but they were hit by an uninsured driver or a driver that did not have enough insurance. Is it possible that they could use maybe their family's uninsured motorist policy?
If they are, most policies, again, we'd have to look at the policy to see when and how the coverage is afforded, but most policies, if you are a member by blood marriage or adoption and residing in the household with a parent, brother, sister, anyone, if you are in that household and under one of those three definitions, you could potentially access the uninsured motorist of another family member.
Well, let's switch gears. I want to talk about another question we get a lot, which is homeowners issues. So I know I've had clients who have had items destroyed at a fire or something, and they bought the TV. Say it's a TV they bought 10 years ago for $500, and the potential client could say, "Well, I bought the TV for $500 10 years ago. Am I entitled to the $500? Are they entitled to?" And I think that goes to what the actual cash value is and the replacement value. So
right, and there's two because there are we do hear disputes and disagreements between insureds and their company in this, in these instances, and what happens on that is, number one, you need to know what type of homeowners policy you have. There's usually two common types. It's a replacement cost policy or it's an actual cash value policy. Now, under the actual cash value policy, which the premium is less because in that instance, you are taking on the risk of losing the depreciation. So you're paying less on a premium, but you're not going to get your item replaced at 100%. If you have a replacement cost, that will replace your item for a like item at whatever it costs. But what they do in those policies, and this is probably what aggravates a lot of people, is they will pay you the actual cash value until you replace the item. Once you replace it, then they'll make up the difference. So they're not going to pay you all the replacement cost up front. You actually have to replace it, then they will pay you the replacement value.
And we have a question in from individual who's recently in a car accident, and his insurance company wants for him to give a recorded statement. He wants to know, should I give the recorded statement? Should I consult an attorney first? Well, I kind of come up with that in cases I deal with where maybe a client gave a recorded statement to an insurance company right after the collision occurred. And typically it's really not a good idea to give a recorded statement to an insurance company right after a collision if you don't have an attorney with you. And that is because whatever you're telling the insurance company, it's going to be recorded and it can be used against you later on. And so if they ask a question and you don't understand the question but you answer it incorrectly, or you get confused by the question, or there's something that happens to where you don't give an answer that is really what you think, and that can come back to hurt you. So typically, I think that it's not a good idea to give a statement to an insurance company, and always consult an attorney first, because here, we give free consultations. So if you have an incident and you think you may need an attorney to help you with it, you can call here. We can hear you out and give you a free consultation as to whether or not we think it's a case that we can help you with. Has that been your experience with the
it has, and I will. One thing in that is if your company's calling and asking for the statement, and you do, one thing is under the terms of the policy, you do have to provide that statement. Most of them are just trying to find out what happens, but again, before you give the statement, if you have any concerns, I would contact an attorney, contact us. We'd be glad to answer your questions. It may be something we can help you with or not, or direct you in the right way. But as far as under your own policy, there are conditions to make sure your coverage applies that you have to provide that. So just don't delay in doing that. You can seek out advice before giving the statement.
Another dispute I think we get here at IFC is that someone's got involved in a collision, it's someone else's fault, and the insurance company values the damage that is different from the way the client values the damage at. So, what does the insurance company have to do in terms of determining what the actual replacement value cost is for the car, or what the repair amount should be?
Right. That is, we get that quite often. And so actually under what the insurance companies owe is they owe the market value of the vehicle. They have probably 2 or 3 different ways or options they have to go about valuing your vehicle. And that would be using the NADA, National Automobile Dealership Association Blue Book. They can use a comparable vehicle search. They contract with an outside vendor that will go out in the local market within a certain radius of where you live, find vehicles that are for sale, and make a determination based on options, mileage, adjusting to come up with the price for your vehicle. And or they use dealer quotes. Most insurance companies use the comparable vehicle search. Some will fall back on the Blue Book. So what you need to do is also check those sources. I always tell people, look the vehicle up on NADA, pull out the Auto Trader, see what dealers are selling the vehicles for or asking for those. And those are things you can use to, negotiate that price or, hopefully increase what they're offering if you feel they're undervalued. Now, there is another, if you're dealing with your own insurance company, most policies provide an appraisal clause. If you're really far apart or you feel you've done your homework and they're really lowballing you, there is an appraisal clause. What you can do is policy entitles you to go out and hire your independent appraiser. The insurance company will hire an independent appraiser. They'll value the vehicle and then potentially come up with an offer that all parties can agree on at that time. So that is another option.
Yeah, a common question we get. I think another piece of insurance coverage out there that can give rise to disputes is homeowners coverage. And sometimes I've gotten calls from those who say, well, I was at a bar and someone punched me at the bar. Can I sue that person? And if you were to sue that person, it would be potentially under that person's homeowners policy. So, Brett, if you could explain maybe what homeowners insurance does, what it covers, and what some exceptions are to that policy.
Well, on the homeowners, of course, as far as the liability goes, that coverage, kind of like uninsured motorist, it follows you. You don't have to be in your home if you happen to injure somebody or someone injures you and they're not on their property and it is a negligent accident. You potentially have a claim to make back against the homeowners. I've seen hunting accidents where homeowners paid. I've seen just different types of things like that off premises. Someone inadvertently in a maybe even a store someplace somehow injuring someone, that the homeowner's liability policy would come into effect to cover that person, so you would potentially have a claim there.
And one thing we read about is, well, I'm trying to resolve a case with an insurance adjuster. I think the insurance adjuster is lowballing me. Brett, what are some of the tactics that sometimes insurance adjusters can use to try to dissuade a person from seeking an attorney?
Well, it's, one thing they really try to do, which and it's not so much maybe getting an attorney, or it's just trying to get the claim wrapped up real quick. Especially on injury claims. Some of the companies will try to offer a fast settlement, offer to pay your bills for 30 days and give you a certain amount of money to get you to sign a release. That stems or prevents the claim from maybe becoming, or them having to pay the value it's truly worth. Because if you find, 30 days after that, you find, an injury comes up and you've already signed that release, you no longer have an action against them. Some adjusters will even go as far as saying, even if you get an attorney, it's not going to increase the value of your case. We will be paying you the same as we're going to be offering them. It's not true, because there's a lot of other than just getting the offer increased. As far as a attorney firm, our firm, we offer a lot of other services that help increase the value of the case.
And one thing I've also started to see is insurance adjusters trying to get a release over the phone.
Yes.
An oral release. That's the new thing. There's maybe some question about whether that's enforceable, but it's better not to find yourself in that kind of situation.
So yeah, just remember on an injury claim, there is no rush to accept that. In Oklahoma, you have you have 2 years to resolve or file that litigation to continue it. So there is no, you don't need to accept those quick offers, because that's the idea. I mean, most insurance companies have stockholders. Stockholders, they make money based on the dividends. So the more they save, that helps their stockholders and shareholders make the money they're looking to.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I hope this information helps you out in understanding insurance and understanding how maybe to better deal with disputes. So if you have any disputes with an insurance company, you can feel free to call us here at. We have some more questions.
Popped up.
We have one here that says, I would have said a car accident and adjuster is saying they won't pay my medical bills because I had a prior injury. What can I do? Well, again, you can give us a call and we can evaluate your case to see what we can do to maximize value, and talk with your consult your medical records and see what your injuries are, and work with you to decide what a fair settlement value would be for your case.
Yeah, and that is a common dispute too with insurance companies. Are the people when they talk with them, they say, I had previously had a back injury. Then what they do, they try to say, well, that is going to diminish the value of your case, because obviously, we don't want to be paying for something that pre-existed the accident. Well, that is not the case. Is believing there is a law that they have to take them, as you are, and they can't diminish the value of your case just because you had prior injuries, as long as there was not you were in active treatment or something. So,
right.
So those are that is an issue they try to use, and like I say, give us a call if you do run into that problem.
All right. Well, I hope everyone has a good weekend.
And our next Facebook will be Friday, March 1st. Thank you.